All right, what's going on, everybody? I hope you are doing well. It is, let's see, Monday morning, not even 9 o'clock yet. In fact, I haven't even left for the office. You can tell I am still at the house. Monday, October 18th, and it's time to go ahead and jump into another week of lesson prep. So I want to walk you through that. You can click on the links right below here, download the lesson in Word or PDF. You know the routine. I've been doing this now for 4 or 5 years. You should know it. So while you're opening that up, a couple of things. Number one, we set a goal for every single one of us to invite two people that are unchurched outside the church to Sunday school every single week. So these are people that you're going to come across, whether they're coworkers, people you already know, or it might even be someone you don't know. It was really interesting yesterday. I got to preach yesterday morning in the Spanish service, and I've been working with the Spanish ministry the last couple of weeks as we do some things there, obviously. And what was really interesting was my wife and I went out for lunch real quick, and Saturday was too busy. We didn't get to go grocery shop. And so we went to the little Walmart supermarket little thing down on Cashua. And we were checking out, and I hear the lady in front of me, the lady who is checking everybody out, she is talking to the two men in front of me in Spanish. They're going back and forth in Spanish. So I was real keen on that, And so as soon as they left, I was like, hey, you speak Spanish, you're bilingual. And we started talking and got an opportunity to invite her to our Spanish ministry and our Spanish Sunday school class. She already went to church somewhere else, but we got to have that conversation. So whether it's somebody you know, or whether it's just somebody passing at the grocery store, I want us as leaders to be conscious with our eyes open. Who can we see that we can invite specifically, not to church, not to an event, but to this Sunday in our Sunday school class? So there's a bunch of us, so we should have about 78 invitations a week. And we're just getting started, so I'm not upset. First week, we got 14. All right, so that's just a little below the 78, right? So here's our thing. This week, starting right now, Monday morning through this next coming Sunday, let's try to beat 14. All right, let's try to get up there around 20, 25, maybe if we can. Now, when you talk to somebody, you can do one of two things. One, you can email me or text me, however you want to contact me personally, and let me know you invited. Now, what I'm looking for is, who did you invite? What was their name? All right, that's all I need to know. Or you can go to the Sunday School website, fbtsundayschool.org. Click on the tab, invites. I think that's what it says, personal invite, something like that. And you can enter it right there, and it'll just email me, and I'll have all that information. All right, and I keep it up tally with it every single week. So let's do it. All right, let's do it. The other thing is, a lot of people checked out 2 of the chronic absentees. Willie Cotter talked to me last night. Somebody came to his class as a result of that. Man, praise the Lord for that. We've had all kinds of stuff. We've had some good, some bad. Some people are gone forever. Some people aren't going to answer the phone, and then some people are going to respond. And so we want to keep working those. I will be in the foyer again after the Wednesday night service at 8 p.m. for you to sign those out again this week. If you want to do it, I need you to do that. I don't really care if you want to. I just need you to do it. All right. And so we'll keep doing that. Of course, you're contacting your absentees, all that kind of stuff as we work. Pastors challenged us with a new goal of being at 1,200 by, I think, June or July of next year. So we got a lot of work to do. All right. And we've already been climbing that mountain. We're going to keep climbing that mountain. And I'm going to be bugging you every day, trying to get us moving in the right direction. All right. Now, let's talk about this lesson. And we are continuing in our series as we're piggybacking off of Pastor Monroe's series. Now, I've done this now for over 21 years. And I know you guys very well, right? So there's some of you, I know this, some of you are thinking in your head as you look over this lesson, you're thinking, seriously, we're doing this again, right? Isn't this getting a little redundant? And I know that when we've done series in the past, that I've had some feedback at times that we feel like we're repeating ourselves. Okay, the reason, let me talk to you through that real quick. The reason you feel like you're repeating yourself is because you're repeating yourself. All right, that you should feel like that because that's what we're doing, right? But there's a reason we're doing that. And what we're trying to do is, when you're trying to move an organization as big as we are in a new direction, and to get them thinking like this every day throughout the week, you've got to hit it on every channel possible. And you just think about the competing ideas with the minds of our people throughout the week. They have families, they have jobs, they have hobbies, they watch games and stuff like that. They've got all this kind of stuff that they're doing. And we just have this little niche of time. We have these 2 or 3 hours on Sunday morning where we're trying to make this difference. So we're just drilling it, and we are drilling it. And about the time your people look at you and go, really? We got it. All right. They don't have it. And then here's the other thing. It's not just what we're trying to do also is it's not just this head knowledge that we want to see them being loving in every aspect of their life. So I don't want you to apologize for it. I want you to give just as much energy to this lesson as you did the last two. Some of it is repetitive, but repetition is a time-proven method for teaching effectively. So don't feel bad about it. Let's just go, man. Let's just do this. All right. So by this time, you can look at the intro real quick. I'm going to start off. I actually did this yesterday. I said, okay, Pastor Monroe's challenged us over the last several weeks, new vision. Who can remember what it was? Right. And I had a little fun with it. Oh, to be loving. That's close. I want you to, what is it? To be the most loving place in Eastern South Carolina. Somebody said to be the most loving church. Nope. We want to be the most loving place, right? We want to include everything that when people come to the Florence Baptist Temple, I want them to walk away and go, this is the most loving place in the entire world. Okay. That's what we're looking at. All right. To be the most loving place. Now, where I think there's a ton of application for you and me as Sunday school teachers is to really wrestle with, well, if we're going to have the most loving church, that means we got to have the most loving Sunday school class. So how do we have the most loving Sunday school? How are we more loving than the people next door, right? We're not in competition, obviously, but we're trying, we need to get down. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. So even, pastor's been challenging us to do one act of love for another church person every week. So you could use your intro and say, hey, who's had an opportunity to do that? Let's share that. Now, it would be good if you came with a couple ideas to get that going in case nobody else has done it, right? But you're having that discussion around that. Talk about what makes it hard. What makes it hard for us to do this? All right. One of the things I've already alluded to, it's hard because we only hear about it on Sunday, and Thursday morning I might have that opportunity, but I've forgotten since Sunday, right? So today we're going to talk about how the vision may sound new to some people, right? Pastor Monroe hasn't worded it like this before, but it comes straight from the Lord Jesus Christ over 2,000 years ago. In fact, we're going to prove in the scriptures it comes a lot even before that. It came from the mouth of God a long time ago, right? So look at it real quick. A new commandment, John 13:34. This is really partially a review of what we did this past Sunday, but you're making the point that Jesus is talking to his disciples. It's that scene right after the Lord's Supper, same text we used yesterday. And then notice that Jesus refers to his teaching as a new command. So have a little brief discussion. What was the old command, right? Well, it's the entire Mosaic laws, the 10 commandments, all that kind of stuff. And those Jewish disciples would have been very, very familiar with that Old Testament law, right? So, context is so critical. If you try to put yourself around the table of that conversation with Jesus and his disciples, you've spent your whole life being raised in Judaism, and you'd be very, very familiar with the Mosaic law and the 10 commandments. So when he says it's a new one, their ears would have perked up, right? But now here's what I want you to see in letter C. And I think this is so important. I think you need to turn to these scriptures. It might have sounded new to those disciples, but it can actually be traced a long, long time ago. So you go back to Deuteronomy 6:5, and you think about it, this is what the Jews, the Shema, they would say daily, right? You got to love the Lord your God with all your heart. Isn't it interesting? You got to love him. You got to love him, not know about him, not serve him, not believe in him. You got to love him. So people will say, oh, the Old Testament's all about law and the New Testament's all about love. Not true. Deuteronomy 6, the chief command, the mantra of those Jewish people every single day was love, 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 love. Leviticus 19. Boy, we think of Leviticus, we think of hardcore law, right? What does he say? Love your neighbor. Love it. And it's new, but point number 3 there, Jesus wasn't coming to destroy the law. Remember that. He wasn't coming to do away with it. He's coming to fulfill it, right? So this is a new part of it. It's a new summary of that law. Letter D here is a good one. Now you got all these scripture references. I think there's 10 or 11 there. I didn't count, but there's 10 or 11. Now what I would do is I would assign those out before class. All right, I have maybe a little sticky note and I have a scripture on it. And as people come in, I say, hey, would you be willing to look that up and read it? And then just real quick, hey, who's got John 15:12? Read it. Who's got John 15:17? Read it. Who's got Romans 13:8? Read it. And we would just go real quick, but I want them to hear those scriptures. And we don't have time, you don't have time to take the whole class through every one of those scriptures. Like, let's all go to John 15. Let's all go to Rome. You don't have time for that. But you could go real quick. You can knock those out in about a minute if they're already prepared and they are ready to go. Okay? You're reviewing what kind of love it was, that it's agape love, that it's always a willing, sacrificial giving of self for the benefit of others with no thought. It's a verb. It's expressed in action, behavior, not feelings. That's what we hit on yesterday. All right. And then point number 2, why did Jesus give this command? Well, Jesus created us, right? Genesis 1, Colossians chapter 1 confirms that. He knew what we were going to struggle with, right? So he knew we would have conflict. In fact, he created Adam and Eve, and it wasn't too long before they had conflict, right? They had the relational conflict when Adam blamed Eve for the sin. You know that didn't go well after Jesus left. And then the very next chapter, the first murder between 2 brothers, right? So he knew we got problems. Luke 22, the disciples were arguing over who is going to be the greatest. These are the disciples. These are the people that are going to carry the faith throughout the known world at that time, and they're fighting over it. Acts chapter 6, we've got issues. Acts chapter 15, we got issues. So Jesus knew Christians weren't always going to get along. All right. Now, so you can talk about that, and you can increase that right there. How do we relate these things in our lives, right? How do we relate these things in our lives? We're not always going to get along. And you know what happens is a lot of times in Christians now, because there's a church on every corner, if I don't get along with somebody, I just go to another church. And that's not the way to deal with it, right? We're supposed to love. So point number 3, Jesus made love the identifying mark of the true believers. And we got this wonderful quote from Francis Schaeffer. In fact, you could buy that book. It's less than $10. It's really only about a 60-page book. It is good. I bought it and I've been reading it. It's really, really good, right? And you can quote that there. And then you got all this application. You can talk briefly about why love is so important. Think about the cultural condition we live in with the isolation of COVID, the selfishness of people, the media, how it stokes fear, which ultimately leads to a divided public, right? There's so much violence, crime, and law. That's the world we live in. Boy, we need love. Now, I gave you a lot of stuff. This was stuff right out of Pastor's message here. You can talk about it. Let me give you one last little thing that you could do in this lesson. And I did it yesterday, and I think it's really, really important. It went really, really well. I think there's a lot of room in these lessons for you to do some brainstorming as a class. How do we become the most loving class in America, right? How do we do that? And it was good. I got some good answers yesterday when we discussed that, but then I had to keep digging because they're like, oh, make friends outside. I said, no. I'm not talking about outside. I'm talking about when you get here on Sunday morning, how is this class going to be the most loving class I've ever walked into? And we got some pretty good discussion about where we sit and who we sit with and introducing ourselves and not just coming in and plopping down, being on time, right? You're not going to be loving if you're scooting in after we've already started the lesson. So there's a lot there. And I think that's where you can really dig deep and measure the application of this in your class, because guess what? Nobody's going to visit your class and join your class if your class is not loving. And you have about 2 minutes to make that impression when they walk in the door, and you got to keep working at it. So there's a lot of space there. I really want to encourage you to discuss that and get very, very specific and tangible. If you've got a class that's been together for a while, you really need to have this conversation, because you have blind spots most likely in those kind of classes, right? Blind spots because we love each other so much, we don't really love anybody else real well. All right. So lots to discuss here. Great lesson. It's going to be good. You're going to be inviting people all week. We're going to get close to 78 invites this week. Plus we're working these chronic absentees. Got some really good things going. If you need anything at all, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be here all week long. You can text, email, stop by the office, call me, take me to lunch, whatever you want to do. Good cup of coffee, and we'll catch up and get all this stuff handled. Okay. I still want to meet with some of you. I want you to take ownership and how you're going to grow your class. And I really want to sit down with you as a leadership team and talk to you about that and hear what your ideas. You may have some great ideas that we can pass along to the entire Sunday school. So as you're praying and putting that stuff together, let me know and we'll get together. All right. God bless you. Have a great week. I will talk to you very, very soon.